The Donut Bag is brought to you by Penn Highway Marketplace, the marketplace for vintage goods, quality collectibles, and handmade crafts. It's where I get all my sports memorabilia. Go to facebook.com/Penn Highway. That's facebook.com/PENNHWY and mention I sent you. Hello. I am continuing my series on ranking every episode of The Office. This episode, I am talking about numbers 125 through 116, starting to get into some really good episodes, including the debate of whether she is hot. We're going to settle it once and for all. Actually, no, we're not. All right, let's get into it. Number 125, episode 20, Training Day, season 7. Michael makes fast friends with a man coming in to replace him at Dunder Mifflin, but later begins to have second thoughts about seeing him in action. So this is the episode right after Michael announced that he was leaving Dunder Mifflin. So he is going, the cold open is he's at a bar waiting to meet D'Angelo. D'Angelo's there, but they don't realize D'Angelo's waiting for Michael, but they don't realize they're there for each other, and it just takes a really long time. Each one is the one that they're looking for. He even calls him on the phone and can hear him talking. So that was a good open. I mean, Will Ferrell is amazing, and you know, and it just hit me that Will Ferrell and Steve Carell worked together on Anchorman. But anyway, James Gandolfini was the first choice for D'Angelo Vickers. Could you imagine James Gandolfini as the manager at Dunder Mifflin? That would have been amazing. Oh my goodness, I would have loved to have seen that. Way better than Will Ferrell or James Spader. Yeah, that would have been amazing. So they introduce D'Angelo, and everybody's kissing up to him, and Kelly pretends to drop her papers in front of him and does this whole like romantic movie thing where she's wearing glasses and then she takes them off and puts her hair down and like basically tries to flirt with him, and she says in an interview, and that's what we call a meet cute. And it gets, so everything's great at first, but then Michael's still there and D'Angelo's trying to manage, but Michael is having second thoughts and doesn't like that everybody's kissing up to him and that things are changing. Like when Aaron answers the phone, she says, Dunder Mifflin, this is Aaron. But D'Angelo says, why don't you just answer it without your name? And Aaron says, okay, so Dunder Mifflin, this is? No. And Michael says, do it the old way. And they're they're fighting over it. And then the phone rings and they're both staring at her to see what she'll do, and she just picks up the phone and says, I'm so sorry, and just hangs up. I'm not a big fan of Aaron, but that she does have some good moments. And it just keeps going from there. D'Angelo says that he's allergic to peanuts, and Michael makes peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and starts throwing them okay, that was good. He gets so angry. At the end, D'Angelo has a meeting with everybody in the conference room, and except for Michael, and Michael is really upset, and Jim says, hey, listen, you're the one that chose to quit. We have to move on. We have to listen to the new manager. So and then D'Angelo says like, how do I do this? I don't know what to do. And they have a little heart to heart, and they hug really weirdly. It's something. So number 124, season 6, episode 22, Secretary's Day. Michael creates problems for Andy on Secretary's Day when he tells Aaron that Andy was engaged to Angela, and Kevin is upset over after Oscar makes a video comparing Kevin to Cookie Monster. Wow, there's a lot of suck in this episode. This should have been lower. The cold open is Oscar made a video basically dubbing Kevin's voice into a Cookie Monster video. And okay, yeah, it's funny, but it's pretty mean. I mean, that's some mean spirited stuff right there. And then the entire episode, everybody's making fun of Kevin, comparing him to Cookie Monster. Yeah, he sounds like Cookie Monster, but dude, leave him alone. And then but it's Secretary's Day, and Andy makes this huge deal about it, and everybody has to give gifts to Aaron and all this crap. And Andy asks Michael to take Aaron to lunch because Aaron idolizes Michael, and Michael really doesn't like her that much. He says she's weird. I mean, she is, but he takes her to lunch, and it's just not going very well. And I think Aaron asks, like, what was Andy like before I got there? And he said, well, he was okay. I mean, he was engaged to Angela, and this completely shocks her and she freaks out. She's freaking out at the restaurant. She covers her she puts the hair over her head to make her own little room or something like that, and she's freaking out. And Michael says, I'll have what she's having. So but they're having a little party for Aaron, and he's about to sing a song, and Aaron just takes a cake and throws it in his face, says, I know about you and Angela, and she's really upset. And Pam tries to reassure and says, hey, it says, Aaron, I was engaged to someone in the office also. Aaron says, you were engaged to Andy too? I generally don't like Aaron, but her like comically clueless things that she does is really funny. But the whole Cookie Monster thing, they keep making fun of him. Gabe puts his foot down and says, that it has to stop, but it doesn't. Jim and Pam are doing it, and I don't know, for some reason. And so Gabe says, well, you're suspended. And then he suspends Dwight also. And Jim and Pam find out that he's not allowed to suspend anybody, and he's not allowed to dock anybody's pay. Basically, he has no power. So when they realize that, they say, oh, well, you really taught us, so I guess we'll be suspended. And they just go home. And Gabe's like, no, it's okay, I forgive you. And it's like, oh, it's basically just a excuse for them to get the day off. And then Kevin starts making fun of how Gabe talks. So it's like, okay. Oh, and at the end, Kevin makes a video of Oscar as the Count. You get it? The Count, because he's an accountant. Only Michael gets the joke. It's not really that good of a joke. Number 123, season 7, episode 8, viewing party. When Gabe hosts a Glee viewing party, invites everyone. 2 of his employees don't feel at ease. Michael feels like Gabe has usurped his role as the cool boss, and Andy is so jealous over losing Aaron to him. And Jim and Pam discover how good Dwight is with children. And Andy has a bad reaction to a mixture of wine and a Japanese stimulant. The cold open was that there was breaking news that they caught the Scranton Strangler. He was holed up in his house or something like that. Then he was driving away, and he went on a chase, and the chase actually went past the office. So they're all watching this breaking news, and then they see outside the window that the police cars go by. And so Michael took a piece of the asphalt or something like that. He's gonna sell it or some stupid thing like that. But everybody is in the office watching this, and who wasn't there? Toby. Does that mean that Toby is the Scranton Strangler? That one episode where he meets the Scranton Strangler and gets and he strangles him. I guess that kind of disproves that theory, but still, maybe Toby is the Scranton Strangler. So they're all at Gabe's place watching Glee, and some people are really into Glee and some people aren't. I never really watched and I never got into it. But Phyllis is asking Kelly about all the characters. He's like, which one is this? Which one is this? And then she says one of my favorite lines ever, which one is Glee? And Kelly just says, stop asking questions. Um this was a terrible idea to have a bunch of people over to watch a TV show when I actually wanted to watch a show, but people were talking and it was a bit of a mess. So Michael is upset that everybody loves Gabe, so he goes off into another room to watch the show with the volume up, but nobody will follow him. Then then the cable goes out, and Aaron finds out that it was Michael that cut off the cable. And basically Aaron says to Michael, I want you to like Gabe. And Michael says, why? I'm not your father. And that really hurts Aaron, because I think she wants Michael to be like a father figure. And I think Michael realizes that, and he starts pretending to be his father and says, you better stop that, young lady. You don't date that boy. And as long as you're under my roof. And she's saying silly things like, well, I don't like your roof. So it was cute. The relationship between Michael and Aaron it's pretty cute because he realizes that she needs a father figure and he'd like to be like a father figure to her. So number 122, season 2, episode 14, The Carpet. Someone pulls a prank on Michael, leaving a foul-smelling substance on his office carpet. And while Daryl and Roy are replacing the carpet, Michael relocates to Jim's desk, forcing Jim to take the sit next to Kelly. And Michael punishes everyone. And Pam returns from vacation and talks about setting a wedding date, and that upsets Jim. The cold open was Jim's working and he keeps looking over at Pam, and basically because Pam's on vacation, Ryan is the working the phones. So every time Jim goes to talk to him, goes over there because he thinks he's talking to Pam, he's actually looking at Ryan, and Ryan is like, why do you keep looking at me? And Ryan says in an interview, it was kind of weird that Jim kept looking at me, but it was really weird when Michael kept looking at me. So it was that they showed Michael just like staring at him nonstop. It was really, really, really creepy. So somebody, it's inferred that somebody just took a big dump in the in Michael's office, and Michael has everybody smell it. But what Steve Carell did was actually throw a stink bomb in there. So when they did go in and smell it, they actually smelled something horrible. And so the reactions were genuine. That was funny. One of the greatest lines in all of The Office is when everybody is wondering what's going on and talking about the smell. And Creed comes in and just says, hey guys, somebody making soup? What is this? Creed is a national treasure. I love him so much. So Michael is upset that one of his coworkers would do this because he wants everybody to be friends and a family and together and love him. And somebody pooping in your office is not an act of love. So he talks about his boss when Michael first started, and they show the picture that I'm sure you've seen a million times of Michael with shoulder length hair, and Ed Truck shaking his hand. It looks like his first day at Dunder Mifflin. I'm sure you've seen a million memes of it. He talks to Ed Truck. He tells Ed Truck's like, hey, there's a problem with your pension. So he comes over. It's like, it was just an excuse to talk to him. And Ed Truck says, you can't treat these people. They're not your family. They're not your friends. You got to treat them just as people that work for you. And Michael hates that response. But Jim, but what he does is, he goes around the office and just messes up everybody's just picks up all the papers on everybody's desk and just throws them all around, and Dwight helps him, and like that would really tick me off. But Michael is using Jim's desk for the day, so Jim has to sit next to Kelly. And this is the first time in the series we hear Kelly be Kelly. Before this, Kelly was just like a background person or a quote unquote normal person. And here we see her just talking like the I don't know how to put it. Valley girl? I don't know what, but she, basically a big teenager, and talking about how much she has a crush on Ryan. And then she's like, could you talk to him? Could you tell him I have a crush on him? And Jim does, and it's the beginning of the Kelly Ryan love affair. At the end, so basically Jim feels pretty alone and he feels pretty upset because Pam, I think, set a wedding date or something like that. And at the end of the day, Jim is leaving, and he checks his messages on his phone, and Pam just left him a whole bunch of messages for him, basically saying that she was just thinking about him and missed him. So, sweet stuff. Number 121, season 7, episode 4, Sex Ed. A cold sore on Michael's lip leads him to contact his exes, and Andy improvises a sex ed course. The cold open was Dwight going to like a Home Depot kind of thing and seeing a bunch of Mexican workers and wanting to pick one up. And one of the workers says, we don't go to him because he makes people disappear. And Dwight says what he does is he picks him up at the end of the day. He kidnaps him and takes him to Harrisburg. Like, dude, what the heck? But Dwight finds this guy who's English. His name is Nate, and uses him to get rid of a hornet's nest that's on the office building. And he gives them the tools, and they're all looking to see what tools he'll use to get rid of the hornet's nest. So he'll either get rid of the hornet's nest or die, I guess. I don't know. But Michael has a cold sore, and someone tells him he has herpes, and he's freaking out. So Dwight says, you have to contact everybody you've slept with and tell them that you have herpes. He calls Donna and says that he has a sexual transmitted disease that has no cure, and he spells it HI then RPESS. He calls Holly, and they basically are goofballs with each other, but she says, you just romanticized us. We really weren't anything. It was just a fling. And he visits Jan at some place, and she's an executive somewhere. And basically this leads him to question whether he's whether all of his past relationships were his fault or what was going on there. And Jan tells him, Jan said something about that she's a princess, and I don't know, it was some weird thing about it, basically saying that she only went out with him because she shouldn't have, or something like that, or I don't know. Anyway, the daughter comes in, and Jan starts singing to her, and she says, she's singing like, how was your day? Did you learn about shapes? Did you learn about numbers? It just is this beautiful voice, and Melora Hardin is a beautiful singer. And as she's singing to her daughter, Michael interrupts and says, I have herpes. One of the greatest scenes in the entire series right there. He goes to meet Pam's mom, and that does not go well because their relationship did not end well. He visits Carol, who is from season 3, I believe, and his real wife, which is funny. But he leaves another message for Holly and says, I talked to all of my old girlfriends, and you were the only one that I was happy to talk to me, and I was happy to talk to you. And they actually did have something. It wasn't just imagined. No, by the way, you might have herpes. The whole thing was Andy's sex ed course, I guess, is because he's jealous of Aaron and Gabe, and he got angry about it. And I don't know. That was really weird. The episode ends with Michael bringing Oscar in and saying, well, we had that kiss once, so maybe you gave me herpes, so I need a list of all the people you've slept with. Really, one of those jokes that just do not age well. Number 120, season 6, episode 23, body language. Michael is hopeful that a potential client is interested in him, but everyone in the office except for Pam thinks he's wasting his time. Dwight recruits Kelly to apply for the Sabre Minority Management Training Program. The cold open is Michael is trying to learn Spanish. I don't remember why. And he's having a problem with how in Spanish everything is male or female. So he puts Post-it notes everywhere of what's supposed to be male or female. But instead of saying male or female on the Post-it notes, it's a picture of a penis or boobs. And he puts it on everything. He put it on Angela's forehead or something like that. So that was silly. There was an episode where I haven't talked about it yet, where it's the date Mike episode, and he's he's normal with this girl, and I think Jim and Pam are trying to set him up with this lady, and it's going well. And then when Michael realizes that it's setting up for a date, he turns into date Mike and ruins the whole thing. But he acts up at this. It was kind of like a Dave and Buster's kind of thing, and the manager has to come in and tell him to calm down. And the manager was Donna, so they bring her in to sell her printers or something like that. And Jim and Pam are working together as a sales team, as a sales couple, and that didn't really go well because Pam sucks at sales. But the whole episode was, is she actually into him? Because he was basically like throwing himself at her, and she really wasn't giving any signals that she was interested in him. And almost the entire office was saying, look, she's not into you. But Pam is saying, you know what, maybe she is, go for it. And so in the end, it seems obvious that she's not into him, but she forgot her barrette or something like that. So he runs to the parking lot to catch her, and he said, sorry, I thought there was something there. And she said, oh, by the way, there is. And she gives him a kiss. And so that starts that relationship. The thing about Dwight convinces Kelly to apply for the management training program, and basically so he could like control her, but it turns Kelly into a monster basically. And so Dwight says, just once I would like to be a puppet master and have nothing go wrong. Is that too much to ask? Funny line. Number 119, season 6, episode 3, the promotion. Tensions between Jim and Michael arise as they act as co-managers now, with Michael disliking Jim taking charge of things. And David Wallace delivers the news that they're short on money for raises, so the manager has to make hard decisions. That's basically the entire. Oh, and Pam asks instead of gifts for the wedding, she asks for money because the wedding is expensive. But the whole episode is basically Jim is a co-manager now, and Michael can't handle it, and they're just not getting along. Dwight, the cold open is Dwight tries to get his expenses report signed, but he goes to Michael and says, nope, that's Jim. And Jim says, nope, that's not me. And so they go back and forth. And then Dwight wants to make a complaint about Jim, and It's just silly. But the thing about the raises, they don't know how to hand out the raises. So and Dwight just causes a lot of trouble because he's mad that he wasn't he didn't get a promotion. And at one point they put pictures of everybody and put beans basically on like that ranking the employees, and Dwight finds this out and brings everybody in, and they're just wondering like, why do some people have beans and some people don't? And I think it was Kevin or Pam or something like that kept saying, what does the bean mean? What does a bean mean? Pretty dumb episode, but basically it was just furthering the Jim and Michael are co-managers now thing. Number 118, season 5, episode 4, baby shower. After planning an office baby shower for Jan, Michael is upset when he finds out that she had the baby without him, even though he's already been told that he's not the baby's father. The cold open is Michael is preparing for Jan's baby by having Dwight pretend to be pregnant. And Jim explains it using a chart, and I'm sure you've seen this meme a million times. But what he says is Jan is about to have a baby with a sperm donor, and Michael is preparing for the birth of a watermelon with Dwight. Now this baby will be related to Michael through delusion, and he's pointing out this flow chart or whatever, but it's been used as memes a million times. So Michael is preparing to have the baby. Dwight has a watermelon in him and Dwight's water broke and they're delivering the baby, and there's like Dwight put like, so the baby comes out and it's all slippery, and he drops the watermelon, and Michael's like, why did you do that? And Michael and Dwight says, babies are slippery when they come out. And this is actually true. Some medical place actually uses this cold open in training to show babies are actually slippery when they come out of the womb. So there you go. There's your education. Oh, and Dwight wants to mark the baby with a Sharpie so to avoid stealing the baby. Okay, that's I could see that. But basically Michael wants to have everything perfect for this baby shower. I don't know why, but Michael said, it was he said to Phyllis, when you had a bridal shower, we had a wonderful shower for you, and I want a golden shower. Where's my golden shower, Phyllis? Love it. But Jan comes in and she already had the baby and didn't tell Michael. So everybody's shocked, kind of ruins the baby shower, because the baby shower, Kevin says, the baby shower is, we had all these games and now they're ruined. And Michael said, no, nothing's ruined. And Kevin's like, okay, let's play the game. Guess when the baby will be born. Cool. They still could have had the game. They could have said, guess when the baby was born, whatever. I mean, you could still have a game like that. They all chipped in and got Jan a stroller, and she's like, oh, I have a stroller. And it was like a top of the line stroller. This is actually an actual stroller. I think it's called Orbit. And it is like a really good stroller. And they contacted this company. They researched like what's a really good stroller, and they found out it was Orbit, and it was like a small company. So they wanted to give them some publicity. So they used an actual thing, and then apparently it actually is a really good stroller. It's probably expensive as hell, but Dwight takes the stroller and just beats the crap out of it. And they call it indestructible, and apparently it is. But Michael is, I think this is where Michael is in the middle of dating Holly, and he says, listen, I'm going to be mean to you today because Jan is here, and I'm not sure why, but Jan figures out that Jan talks to Holly for a minute and realizes that she's basically the female Michael Scott, and that they're perfect for each other. So for some reason, at the end, she tells Michael, do me a favor, don't date Holly. And Holly's like, and Michael's like, ew, I don't like her. Ew, she's yuck. But Michael realizes he really doesn't have a connection with the baby. He loves every baby except for this one. And when Jan leaves and he comes back in, and Holly says, are you still going to be mean to me? And he just gives her a big hug. And so it was very sweet. I love Michael and Holly. I love them. So this is a really good episode. Number 117, season 5, episode 18, Blood Drive. So this is after Michael and Holly broke up, and he is missing her, and they're holding the business park is holding a blood drive, and as he's giving blood, he has a nice conversation with a pretty woman donating blood at the same time, but he passes out, and when he wakes up, she's gone, and she only left her glove, like Cinderella. So he puts together a singles mixer to and hoping that she shows up. And Jim and Pam go out for lunch with Phyllis and Bob. The cold open was really good. A salesman came in coming to sell an automated phone system. Basically, Pam's job. Basically, there's no use for Pam if you have an automated phone system. And Jim sees this, and every time the salesman comes, Pam says, "Oh, he's busy. He can't see you." And the guy's like, "Well, okay, I want to make an appointment then." And Jim comes and says, "Hey, I'm Michael Scott. We don't need you. Okay, bye." And Michael comes and says, "Hey, what's going on?" So Jim calls Michael Jimbo or something like that, and Michael's all confused, and everybody's just looking at each other, and then Jim just starts going, "Hey," and then Michael goes, "Hey," and Pam goes, "Hey," and then jump twice in and yells, "Hey," and everybody goes, "Hey." And the salesman's like, "Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I'm getting the heck out of here." So I love that. While Jim and Pam, so basically, Michael is upset. Then they said there's a lot of single people here that don't care about Valentine's Day. So Jim and Pam suck it. And so Jim and Pam and Phyllis and Bob go out for lunch, and they seem to be having a really nice time. And then Phyllis and Bob go away, and they're taking an awfully long time, and Jim and Pam are wondering what the heck is going on. The food's there, like, the food's getting cold. Should we eat it? What's going on? And they they go to near the bathroom, and they hear Bob and Phyllis having sex, and they are just freaked out. I don't blame them. The thing with Michael and the lady, that was just really sweet. But and then he tells everybody in the office, "Hey, I met this girl, but I don't know what happened." And Kelly and everybody's like, "Oh, that's so sweet. That's such a romantic love story." And they kept waiting for her to show up, but she never did. There was this lady, Lynn, that came in, and she looked like Kevin and her really hit it off. And at first Kevin thought he blew it because he was just so shy, and she was really shy too. And he just saying, at the end, he's like, "I really just like you," and she gives him the number. And I think they do, like, hook up in a later episode or something like that. So that was really sweet. Dwight used it to was talking to some woman, and she worked at a place that used a lot of paper, and he tried to get her sale, and she's like, "I'm not interested in that. I was interested in meeting someone." And he's like, "Okay, fine, go away then." It's number 116, season 5, episode 13, Prince Family Paper. Dunder Mifflin wants to acquire new clients in the area, currently dominated by a small company called Prince Family Paper. And David Wallace asks Michael to go out and gather information. So, but then he has an ethical dilemma when he sees how nice Prince family is. And a heated debate erupts among the staff over whether Hilary Swank is hot. The cold open was Dwight finds a red wire and doesn't understand where it came from, where it went, and it was a prank that Jim pulled on him, and he goes all the way up to like climbing up the telephone pole. So, okay, but basically, the episode is Michael and Dwight go to Prince Family Paper. Michael pretends to be a lawyer looking for business, and Dwight pretends to be a salesman looking to get hired there. And Michael's name was Michael Scarn, like in Threat Level Midnight. But he's talking, and the guy just says, "Hey, if you want our business, here is a list of our top clients. You call any of them, and they'll give you a good reference." And he's like, "Oh, thanks." And they are just about to leave, and Michael crashes his car in on the what are those things, the median divide or whatever, or those parking lot concrete things, and they really messes up his car, and the family comes out and they help him out, and they are just as sweet as can be. It's just basically the father, son, and the wife, and there's the little girl is there, and it's just such a sweet family. And Michael knows that if he gives this list to David Wallace, it will destroy the company. And he has a dilemma. He decides not to, but Dwight says you have to. So they chase each other throughout the parking lot. Eventually, Dwight gets the list. Eventually, Michael gives David Wallace a list, and we learn in a future episode that this actually does destroy the company. So, yeah, not exactly a happy ending. The whole thing about Hilary Swank, they're talking about Hilary Swank and whether or not she's hot, and it's divided into two groups. It was 5-5, and then they decided to have like a debate, and each side has 2 minutes to give their argument for whether or not she's hot. And it's still divided, and then at the end Michael doesn't even know what's going on. He just sees a picture of her. It's like, oh, who's that? Hilary Swank? Yeah, she's hot. And that ends the debate 6-5. I I don't know. Is she hot? I don't know. Look at her. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know how I would vote. I get I don't know. I don't know. I'm torn. It's a really good question. Really good question. Whether she's, I guess I would say no, but who am I? Look at me. I'm the least hot person ever. Who am I to comment on a Hollywood star? She's beautiful. Maybe she's hot. I don't know. I can't decide. Anyway, that is this episode. I thought I would settle it. I can't. Sorry. These are we're gonna keep on doing these. I'm having a great time doing this. I hope you enjoy it too. It's getting good. We're almost into the top 100. And they're just getting better and better. So I love The Office so much, and there's so many good moments and scenes and episodes. So we're just getting into the good stuff. So thanks for listening and watching, and I will talk to you later.